Our scene begins as we come upon the bedroom of a young boy, aged about 8 or 9. He is tucked into his bed as we see a man, presumably his father, patting his head and backing up a few steps. All right, champ. Have a good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Dad, one more thing before you go. Could you check under my bed?
Check under your bed? What for?
I need you to check for monsters, Dad.
Now, Thomas, come on. I think you're a little too old to believe there's monsters under your bed.
Dad, I know it sounds crazy, but I swear there's something under my bed. Every night I hear noises.
Noises? Well, I'm sure it's just the house settling, water going through the pipes, or me or your mom walking around, that sort of thing.
I know those sounds. These sounds aren't the house settling, water going through the pipes, or you and Mom walking around.
Thomas.
I hear heavy breathing, a monster-like muttering, and someone sharpening something. I think it's the monster sharpening its claws.
Thomas, I promise you, there are no, I repeat, no monsters under your bed, or anywhere for that matter. Now, come on, kiddo, get some sleep, okay?
Okay, Dad.
Good night.
Good night.
Thomas's dad walks out and the lights dim. Thomas cautiously peeks over his bed for several moments. There is no movement or sound. Slowly, Thomas lays on his pillow.
Well, gosh. Maybe that's right. Maybe there are no monsters. Maybe it's been my imagination the whole time. Maybe I was worried all for nothing.
Thomas slowly drifts off to sleep. However, seconds later, we suddenly hear low, ominous breathing from somewhere in the room, followed by the sound of something being sharpened. Thomas's eyes shoot open, and he sits up in bed, now quite terrified.
Now I'm worried.
Thomas timidly gets out of bed and tiptoes away from it a few steps, then looks down underneath it, making sure not to get close to it lest something grab him.
This needs to stop. It needs to end once and for all. Okay, whatever it is you are under there, come out so I can see you. I'm not gonna live in fear forever. I want to see you right now. Oh boy.
Slowly, much to Thomas's horror, a hand suddenly reaches out from under the bed and can be plainly seen. Thomas backs up further.
On second thought, never mind. Stay under there. Stay there as long as you want. I'll even bring you snacks. Some magazines too. Don't come any closer.
Soon out emerges the bed monster, dressed in rags and looking quite menacing. He gets to his feet and looms before Thomas, who points at it in silent horror.
Ah!
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 Ah! Wait a minute. This is getting kind of contrived.
Oh,
now,
goodness, you think so too?
Yeah. What? You can talk?
Well, of course I can talk. Not all monsters are non-speaking, you know.
Huh? Who are you?
Oh, sorry about that. Where are my manners? My name is Sheldon. Sheldon the bed monster.
Sheldon?
Yes, that's my first name. So what?
That's not a very scary monster name. In fact, it's kind of dorky.
Well.
No offense, but usually monsters have names like Golgo or Thanos or Monstrum, not Sheldon.
Well, your name is no prize either, you know.
Excuse me?
Yeah, Thomas. What kind of silly name is that? Thomas sounds more like the name you'd give a stuffy English butler. Yeah.
Those sound like fighting words to me. How about I knock your block off, you big goof? My dad taught me not to take any garbage from boys, and that includes bed monster too.
Thomas balls his hand into a fist and stalks towards the bed monster, who shrieks and backs away.
Oh, 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 no, 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 no! Get away from me! Don't hurt me, please!
Huh?
Oh, I don't like confrontations. Please leave me alone. You've got some nerve talking about bullies. Look at this. You're bullying me. Why don't you pick on someone your own size?
Hey, come on now. Don't cry. I'm awfully sorry about that. I was just trying to defend myself. I didn't mean to bully you.
Well, okay. Thank you for apologizing. To be honest, I kind of deserved it. I've been scaring you an awful lot lately.
You know? Now that you're here, I'd like to talk about that, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure, talk away. I didn't have anything scheduled tonight.
Well, you said it yourself. You've been scaring me a lot for the last several weeks. I heard you breathing heavily, heard you moaning and groaning, and heard you sharpening your claws. I thought you were going to try and grab me or slice me to pieces or something. And what's worse, every time I tell my parents about it, they don't believe me. All they do is say, "Oh, now come on, Thomas. You're a bit too old to be scared of and believe in monsters under your bed." My parents think I'm being a baby, and it's your fault.
Oh, well, gee, I'm awful sorry about that. But there's an explanation for all of that, you see.
There is?
Yes. You see, I breathe heavily because, well, it's very cramped under your bed. You've got all sorts of baseballs and footballs and board games and clutter under there. It's hard to breathe. It's so cramped.
Huh, gee. Mom and Dad have told me to clean up under there a lot lately.
And all of that monsterly moaning and groaning, it's because the frame of your bed, the metal frame I may add, pokes me in the back and the butt and head all of the time. It really hurts. Hence I'm moaning and groaning in pain.
Dad said he was going to get me a new bed soon. This one has seen better days.
And that whole claw sharpening thing, well, it's kind of embarrassing.
Go on, tell me. I won't judge.
Pinky swear?
Sure. Now come on, tell me.
Well, the thing is, just because I'm a bed monster, that doesn't mean I don't take care of myself. I have a very strict regimen of showering, brushing my teeth, washing my clothes, and filing my nails. Do you know how many germs can go under your fingernails? It's enough to make you sick.
So that's why my mom tells me to wash under my fingernails.
Exactly.
Well, God, these have all just been big misunderstandings then.
I guess so.
Oh, gee. You don't seem like such a bad monster after all.
Yeah, you're an okay guy too.
Truce?
Truce.
Well, now that I know why you do what you do, I think I'll be scared. I don't think I'll be scared anymore.
Well, good. Good. I'm so glad.
I might as well get some sleep now. And armed with this knowledge, I'll be able to sleep great.
That makes me feel better.
Well, good night, Sheldon.
Good night, Thomas.
The bed monster crawls underneath the bed. Silence. Thomas slowly starts to drift off to sleep.
Hey, Thomas. Thanks for being so understanding.
No problem. And thank you for telling me all the reasons behind those noises you made from down there.
Of course. Hey, Thomas. Don't you worry about a thing. I'll put in a good word for you with the monster in your closet. I'll make sure he doesn't bother you.
Good. Did you say monster in my closet?
Oh, yeah. He's the one you should be afraid of. He's big, hairy, and grouchy, with long fangs and claws. But I'm sure if I talk to him, he'll be cool. Well, good night.
For you, maybe. Oh boy.
The lights slowly fade up on a simple cottage setting. It is nighttime. The crickets are chirping, and the dim glow of a fireplace can be seen. A woman is seen seated in a comfy chair, a blanket wrapped around her shoulders. She appears to be young, perhaps her mid to late 20s, perhaps a bit older. She is knitting something as a spotlight slowly brightens on her. She hums to herself quietly as she knits. Soon, she finishes what she is knitting and holds it up. It is a pair of socks.
Ah, there we are. A nice pair of socks to warm my feet. Speaking of which, I'd better put a few more logs on the fire. It's starting to die down.
She walks over to a small pile of wood and takes 2 logs from it, then places it into the fireplace. She warms her hands briefly, then gazes at the pile of wood for a moment.
Goodness, the wood pile is getting low. I'll have to ask one of the local woodsmen to chop some more for me. Though at prices they ask for, I'm better off doing it myself.
She walks back over to her chair and sits down in it. Sadness finally overcomes her, and she sighs a lonesome sigh.
Ah, goodness me. If only I had a family to share my life with. Don't get me wrong. I consider myself quite happy. But, gosh, sometimes things just feel so incomplete. Here I am, living alone, while other women my age already have husbands and children of their own. Gracious, am I destined to be alone forever? Will I be an old maid like one of my aunts is? A spinster. I hate to be negative and think the worst, but I've not met a fellow so much as looked at one in so long. I mean.
She yawns a bit and relaxes deeper into her chair as she closes her eyes briefly.
Oh, goodness. Sometimes I forget how comfortable this chair is. I might not even make it up to the stairs to my bed. I could fall asleep right here, right now.
She nods off briefly as the lights dim on the stage. Slowly, almost soundlessly, we see a door that we presume leads to the outside world open. In walks a young boy of around 10 years of age. He has an innocent, almost ghostly quality and charm to his look and walk. He closes the door behind him carefully, then walks over to the woman, who is still asleep. The boy studies her silently for several moments, then smiles.
What was that?
Excuse me?
Oh my!
I'm terribly sorry, Mother. I didn't mean to wake you.
Oh, it's quite all right, dear. I suppose I should head off to bed. Oh, who on earth are you? And did you just call me mother?
I did.
Sweetie, I think you might be a bit confused. I'm not your mother. Are you lost? Do you need help finding your way back home?
Oh no, don't be silly. I am home. And you are my mother. Well, let me back up. This will be my home. And you will be my mother. Just not now. But soon, very soon.
Are you pulling a prank on me? Because I must tell you, sweetie, as adorable looking as you are, I don't find this amusing.
Oh, Mother, please don't be upset with me.
Stop that. Stop that at once, calling me mother. I'm sure your actual mother would be heartbroken to hear you call another woman that.
I have no other mother. That's just it. You're my mother.
Sweetie, this has quickly gone past being amusing and cute, and now it's becoming quite alarming. Now, if you please, tell me who you are and where you came from. Are you from the orphanage near town? Or do you perhaps come from a broken home and ran away from it? I can't think clearly in such a late hour. I'll make up a bed for you to sleep in. But rest assured, in the morning, you are going to tell me the truth of who you are and where you came from. And I'll be escorting you back to whatever place it might be.
I'm afraid that's not possible.
Oh, is that so?
No, because I won't be here in the morning.
Sweetie, I'm not about to let someone so young just run off willy-nilly to possibly cause trouble in town. No, I'm putting my foot down. I will escort you.
I won't be anywhere in the morning. I will be gone, like a dream.
Sweetheart, I beg of you, stop talking in such a way. I won't hear another word about it.
Mother, why don't you believe me? Why do you think I'm crazy?
Because I'm not your mother, for heaven's sake. Not another word about this, or so help me, I shall escort you home or to the orphanage tonight.
There is silence. The woman sighs an annoyed sigh as she goes to gather a few blankets and pillows, presumably to make a bed for this boy. The boy sadly wipes his eyes of tears as he watches her.
You yelled at me. I didn't think you would yell at me. Not when Grandfather Malcolm and Grandmother Yeti raised you to be so kind.
What was that? What did you say?
Malcolm and Yeti, your parents, my future grandparents.
Those are their names, yes.
And you are an only child. You have no brothers or sisters. You went out on your own after your schooling ended. You got a job as a teacher at one of the local schools. It pays well, but you have no one to share with. At least not yet.
That's right. It's all true, but how did you?
I'm sorry that you're so sad right now, Mother. That you're afraid that you'll end up alone, like your Aunt Beatrice and Spencer.
How on earth do you know my Aunt Beatrice and my mother's sister?
Mother, say something.
You...
The woman walks over to the boy and gazes at him as the boy smiles even more. He slowly opens up his arms for a hug.
I've heard from many sources that you give the best hugs. I'll experience them soon enough. But may I trouble for you one for you now? As a teaser?
Oh, my Lord. My Lord in heaven,
The woman is overcome with emotion. She scoops the boy into a hug and he hugs her back. It is the loving, sweet hug of a mother and child. She gently collapses onto the chair with him, still in the hug, as she lets go and lovingly strokes his hair.
my boy, my sweet, precious boy.
Oh, Mother, you believe me now. I'm so happy.
I have so many questions. I can't even think straight.
I understand.
What is your name, sweetie? What will it be?
Oh, that hasn't quite been determined just yet. All I can tell you now is that I'm going to be a strong, happy, healthy boy. And that you'll name me after someone in your life that you care about a lot.
My father? My husband?
Possibly.
I just have to ask, who is it? Who will be your father be? My husband. Is it someone I know? Or is it a person I haven't met yet?
You've met him a few times, but haven't gotten to know him yet.
Goodness. Someone I know, but not fully. That doesn't narrow things down. There's a lot of men in town that I only know in passing.
Don't worry. It'll become clear very soon. In fact, at the very next social event that your schoolhouse has, the Harvest Social, you'll strike up a conversation with him there. He'll ask you to dance, and it will all just fall into place.
My goodness.
Ah, but you mustn't let on that I told you this. It must be a secret. You can't look to be expecting it. When Mr. Penguin approaches you to offer his hand to dance, you must act surprised.
Mr. Pengrass?
Oh, did I say too much?
Ambrose? Pengrass? Him? Goodness me, the town lawyer. He's so kind, proper, handsome. I believe his nephew is one of my pupils.
Correct. His father passed away a few years ago. Sadly, so Mr. Penguin took in his nephew and sister, the boy's mother.
That's right. My word. I'd be surprised you knew that. But then again, you've been spot on about everything else so far.
Mr. Pangras, he's admired you from afar for months now. And at the Harvest Social, he's finally going to have the courage to ask you to dance. Then, for a proper date.
The woman is overcome again. He begins to quietly sob as the boy, concerned, wipes her tears gently with his hand.
Oh, Mother, please, you mustn't cry.
These are happy tears. Not sad ones.
Oh, I certainly hope so. I know you feel lonely right now, but remember, soon, very soon, you won't be lonely anymore. You'll fill the last piece of the puzzle. Mr. Pangras will be with you always. And so will I. Just be patient a little bit longer. It's all coming very soon.
Slowly, the boy turns and walks a few steps back to the door. The woman gets up and hurries to him.
Oh, well, wait, where are you going?
I have to go for now, but only temporarily.
Please, please stay here, at least till morning. There is still so much I have to ask you, still so much I want to talk about.
I'm sorry, Mother, but time is of the essence. I promise. The wait won't be a long one. Sooner than you think. We'll be out this moment. I'll be 10 years old. You'll be my mother. I'll be your son. And I will love you with every beat of my heart. You'll be the greatest mother in the whole world.
You've made me the happiest woman alive, and you're not even born yet. Oh, darling, my son, I love you too. I'll run through the walls for you. I'll do anything for you.
I know. Believe me. I know. Or rather, I will know. Until then, Mother.
Until then, my son.
The boy goes out into the night. The woman races to the door to catch one last glimpse of him.
Gone? He's gone?
She shakily closes the door and, almost in a daze, goes back to her chair and sits.
That must have been a dream, but it couldn't be. He knew so much. Who Mr. Pengrass was, who my parents are, my job. There's no way a dream can get so much right.
She dries the last of the tears in her eyes and sits back in the chair, still trying to process what has just happened to her. Soon, she finds herself smiling. The anxiety and loneliness she first showed seems to have melted away. She now seems calmer, more content. She finally breaks her silence after several moments.
Ambrose Malcolm Pengrass Jr. That would be such a lovely name for a boy when I do have him. Until then, see you later, my little Ambrose, my sweet, wonderful son. And thank you.
She closes her eyes in another content sigh as the lights fade to black. Hey folks, before we start this next segment, I just want to point out that as Mr. Red and Miss Chelsea get into their places and ready for the scene, that this particular scene was written and directed by our very own Shannon Shipp, who's standing by here to tell us a little more about the scene. So take it away, Shannon.
Thanks, Dane. Hello, everyone. My name, of course, as Dane mentioned, is Shannon. I wrote and directed this scene. This scene is called Friendship Can Die. It is from the show I have written called Love Next Door. And this show is about two teenagers, Grace and James, who have been friends their whole lives. And when Grace moves in, well, I should say James moves in across the street where Felicity, the person who bullies Grace all the time, lives, and they start to fall in love. However, before all that, we have this scene, which is their first fight. Now, they have never had a fight before, which is why this scene is so important, and I hope you guys like it. It's based off a conversation they had earlier that James asked Grace to keep his secret of, just in case Felicity, who likes James, found out. Take it away, Dane. Thank you.
All right, here we go. We are outside the household of the Maraninas family. We see a young man run up to the door. He is all sweaty and seems to have been running for a while. This is James Humbler. He frantically knocks on the door and then rings the bell. Next, you see a woman about in her mid-30s to early 40s come to answer the door. This is Tina, or Mrs. Maranina, Grace's mother.
Hey, Miss Maranina. Is Grace home? I need to talk to her. It's an emergency.
Yes, no, just calm down and I'll go get her. Why don't you come in and try to take a breather, okay?
Okay, thanks.
James goes over and sits on the couch, trying to catch his breath. Meanwhile, Tina exits and comes back in with Grace, who seems to be cleaning some kind of bracelet.
I'll give you some space. Something tells me you have to talk something out.
Thanks again.
Don't mention it, I'll do it anytime.
Tina exits as Grace starts to notice that James is very sweaty.
So, how you doing? Do you want to tell me what you're doing here? And why you're so sweaty?
Oh, sorry, I just ran here from the skate park.
The one 10 miles away?
Yeah, that's the one.
And you didn't think to take the bus or ask your mom for a ride?
Right, that might have been smarter, but this is serious. I need to talk with you right away.
Okay, well, what is it?
Well, you know the conversation we had earlier about me moving and all?
Yes. Are you changing your mind?
No, it's not that.
He then notices her cleaning the bracelet and starts to lose focus.
I'm sorry, but what are you doing?
Oh, the bracelet? I'm just cleaning it.
Our friendship bracelet, the one I got you in kindergarten, after you gave me the other half of the set?
Yeah. So?
Knowing how clumsy and reckless Grace can be, he starts to get nervous about their friendship, especially why she has it off.
But you said you never took it off, especially because you might lose it.
Well, it just got a little dirty when I fell earlier, okay? It's no big deal.
He is a little distracted by what Grace said about it being no big deal. He looks down at his own bracelet, but he eventually decides to let it go, trying to continue the important thing he was about to say.
Well, okay. So what was I saying?
The conversation we had earlier about you moving in next door, where Felicity, the person who bullies me all the time, lives, or should I say lived?
Oh, right.
Well, what is it?
Well, apparently Felicity somehow found out about me moving in. She's not happy about it. But I swear, I checked and made sure no one was around when I talked to you.
Oh man, Taylor and I knew she was not going to be happy when she found out. Oh, if she was going to, of course.
I know, and
James's face drops and becomes a little hardened after he hears her say that, and remembers the deal she made earlier with him not to tell anyone.
And what?
well, Grace, I know my best friend, and after promising me not to tell anyone about me moving, would break that promise. Right?
There's no answer, as Grace remembered the promise she made earlier in that very conversation. She can't believe she forgot and is speechless.
Right?
James,
No, you know what? It doesn't even take Felicity to try to break our friendship, because apparently you can do that on your own. How could I even think to be friends with someone so reckless and clumsy? Can't wait to tell Felicity not to even bother. You know what, Grace? Don't talk to me. Just stay away from me. I guess I need some time to think this over.
James looks down at the bracelet and starts to take it off.
And you know what? I really hope you lose that bracelet, because now I've lost mine.
James sets the bracelet down on the table and begins to slowly exit.
I still can't believe you.
James?
James, with his hand now on the door, slowly turns back and looks at her. He then shakes his head in disgust and slams the door. Grace's head falls. Blackout. A dimly lit stage is how we begin. Slowly, a spotlight shines on Ebenezer Scrooge. Though it is not the old, bitter, miserable man we know from A Christmas Carol, this is a man in his late 20s to early 30s, a young, kind spirit. He speaks to the audience as we begin. I remember the last words my father said to me before his untimely passing. I was by his bedside in hospice. My dear little sister Fan was with our aunts and uncles. I could not even begin to have her be there for when father passed. It had been quiet for some time. Then, father beckoned me closer to him. He took my hands in his and said, Ebenezer, my son, take care of little Fan, dear little Fan. She is a delicate creature, your sister. Provide for her, protect her, make her happy. Promise me this, my son. From that day forward, I made that vow to myself that I would indeed provide for dear Fan, protect her from the evils of the world, and make her as happy as she always made me growing up. And for the first few years, it was just Fan and I. I kept my promise to my father. But I also recall the very first time where my having to protect her caused her unhappiness. I hated to do it, but it had to be done. It was a day or so before Christmas Eve when this event occurred. I was at my counting desk, going over paperwork for my employer, Mr. Fezziwig.
Ebenezer, dear brother, I must speak with you.
Goodness, little Fan, you look so excited. Whatever could the matter be?
Oh, Ebenezer, I have such wonderful news. I have been asked to the Christmas Eve ball. A boy approached me and asked to be my date.
That's wonderful, my dear. Who is this fine, lucky fellow,
Tom Dawkins is his name.
Tom Dawkins, eh? Ah, yes, I'm familiar with that name. His father, Clarence Dawkins. He's been a long-time client of Mr. Fezziwig.
Oh, Ebenezer, with your permission, of course. I'd like to go with Tom to the ball. I promise we shall both be on our best behavior, and I'll make sure he has me home at a reasonable hour.
Goodness. I'll be indisposed that evening with affairs of my own. You and Tom Dawkins at a party, eh?
Oh, dearest brother, please say yes. Oh, please, Ebenezer. Tom Dawkins is the kindest, sweetest, most handsome boy I've ever known. He makes my heart flutter just thinking about him. I feel he may be the boy I wish to grow old with. In fact, I've heard from various sources that Tom wishes to kiss me under the mistletoe that very night. Oh, it shall be my very first kiss, and with the most handsome boy in the city. Say yes, please. For me, it will make me the happiest girl alive. Please.
I can't possibly say no to you, little Fan. Yes, I grant you and Tom my full permission.
Oh, thank you, Ebenezer. Oh, you're wonderful, so wonderful.
But remember, as you put it best yourself, he is to be an absolute gentleman to you. I don't mind him giving you a kiss under the mistletoe, but after that, I don't want to hear a word of him being fresh to you in any way.
I'll make sure of it.
And he will indeed bring you home at a reasonable hour. You're not a baby anymore, but you're still a young lady. I will not have you brought home at an ungodly hour. even if it is Christmas Eve.
I shall tell him that very thing the next time we speak.
Very well, then. Here's a little bit of money. Run along with your girlfriends and pick out the finest dress you can find. You're already beautiful enough, but I want to see you in the most beautiful attire as well.
I shall, and I shall also tell them what a sweet, caring, kind brother I have. The greatest brother a girl could ever ask for. Ta-ta, Ebeneezer.
Ta-ta, little Fan. Ah, yes, there I was, feeling quite happy for my dear Fan. She had herself an admirer, a future courter. It did my heart good to think about it. She was growing up now. I was very excited for my sister. That is, until later that day, when I ventured out into town to run a few errands in between my work, and came upon a most interesting conversation. Lights out, brief scene change. Ebeneezer strolls out onto the stage as we hear the sounds of hustle and bustle, people talking and walking about. 3 boys, similar in age to Fan, all 3 well-dressed, come walking out on the other side, talking excitedly.
So what say you, Tom? You've got a date for the Christmas Eve ball, huh?
As a matter of fact, I do. What about you two?
I do. Lucinda Miller. Annabelle Stevens for me.
Well, mine tops you both. I'm escorting a certain Miss Fan Scrooge.
Ebeneezer stops in his tracks. It has to be Tom Dawkins who just said that. He stands in the shadows and cocks his ear to listen as the 2 boys gather around Tom.
Tom, have you gone mad? Fan Scrooge?
That annoying, overly excited shrew?
The very same.
What would possess you to do such a thing? Oh, saints in heaven. You don't mean to tell me Cupid's arrow has pierced your heart, that you've gone gaga for that thing, have you?
Oh, Lord, no, fellows. It's something else. Something I think you'll find quite funny. I found her, lads. Found our fool.
You don't mean...
Our Queen of Christmas Fools, yes.
Ebeneezer angrily frowns, but keeps to the shadows in order to hear more of what is going on as the 3 boys cackle with glee.
And here I thought we wouldn't have a fool this year.
What makes her qualified to be a Christmas fool, Tom?
Isn't it obvious? Fan Scrooge is, quite possibly, the most cheerfully annoying goody-two-shoes silly cow I've ever laid eyes upon. Such a sickeningly sweet nature. Have you ever listened to her prattle on? Oh, goodness me, what a lovely day. I'm so very, very happy. It grates on the ears.
I'll say it does.
And the way she follows you around like a lovesick fool.
Exactly. She's always giggling at me, waving at me, wanting to go on walks with me. Goodness, I'd be marked in the street if I were to be seen with her for more than a few minutes. Oh, dear Tom, may I join you on your walk? I'd really, really love it. So it got me thinking, what better way to show that girl what a fool she is by crowning her the Queen of Christmas Fools? So putting on my most dashing and voice and personality, I asked her, Dear Fan, with your brother's permission, might I have you on my arm for the Christmas Eve ball? Oh, she shrieked and giggled like such a loon. Oh, goodness, Tom, yes. 100 times yes. 1,000 times yes. So gathering close, you two, here's what I intend to do. I've dropped hints to Fan that I'm going to kiss her under the mistletoe at the ball. So, when I lead her towards it that night, you two following close. I shall stop her right under it. And when I say the words, beautiful, sweet Fan, close your eyes, my dear. I have a surprise for you. Just as she puckers up, we'll douse her in the punch they serve there. Throw some candies on her. Surely they'll stick to her because of the punch. And give her the crown as Queen of Christmas Fools. That foolish girl won't know what hit her.
Tom, that plan of yours, it's brilliant. It's ingenious.
It's my sister you wish to humiliate. The color drains from the faces of the 3. Tom turns and faces Ebeneezer, who walks with a quiet though angered calm towards him.
Uh-oh. Let's get out of here.
Stay here and help me, you cowards. Hello, Miss Ebeneezer.
Mr. Scrooge to you. I may not be elderly, but I'm still your senior. Young Tom Dawkins. Did my ears deceive me? You intend to put my sister through a humiliating act such as that?
Because
I must tell you, my fine fellow, I don't quite think it's funny. In fact, it's downright despicable. My sister came to me, all excited and aflutter, about going to this ball, mostly because she was going to be on your arm. The arm of a young man who, so I thought, was kind, intelligent, had a good head on his shoulders. But it appears I was wrong.
Look, Mrs. Scrooge, it was a...
What? Come, Mr. Dawkins, use your words, boy. It was a what?
It was just a joke is all. A silly little thing. I was just saying that to humor the other fellows. I wasn't gonna...
To me, it sounded quite sincere. I think perhaps you'd better set about finding yourself another date, because Fan will not be attending the ball, especially if you're going to be there.
What? But wait a second, you can't just...
Do that? Oh, but I just did. You see, as her elder brother and her closest male guardian, I have every right to do that. Now, be lucky I don't inform your father of what you plan to do. I've heard from more than one person he's a very strict man. Not to mention he is a supporter of the women's suffrage movement. I think it would bring great shame, not to mention anger, to him if he were to find out his son was preparing to try and humiliate an innocent young girl.
You wouldn't tell, would you?
I might. I might not. That's up to how you react to what I'm about to say next. Call off your date with Fan, and never, ever string her along in such a way again. If I find out that you again try to hurt her, or embarrass her, or humiliate her in any way, I shall not be as nice. Do we have an understanding, Mr. Dawkins?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Good. Now get out of my sight. Tom stammers and nods, then hurries off. Ebeneezer shakes his head and turns to the audience, a spylight on him, as the scene quickly changes behind him. Can you believe that conniving snake was trying to concoct such a plan? To humiliate my dear sister? Well, here I thought I had nipped that in the bud, that I had navigated this little incident without a mistake. But as it turns out, my good intentions backfired on me, at least at first. Ebeneezer is focused on counting the money on his desk and writing down figures, so he does not see Fan enter the room. Her sweet, adoring smile is now replaced by a look of anger. She marches over to the desk and stands before it. Fan, I don't have time to chat. I have to get these numbers done for Mr. Fezziwig.
We need to talk. Now.
I shall be done in about an hour. Then I'll be able to... Before Ebeneezer can finish, Fan angrily sweeps her hand across the table, scattering money and papers about. Ebeneezer stands in shocked anger. Have you gone mad? What on earth is the matter with you? I was in the middle of balancing the books for Mr. Fezziwig.
Did you speak to Tom Dawkins at all? Did you confront him in the street earlier today?
I'm afraid I've no idea what you mean, Fan.
He approached me and told me our date was off. He was going to find another girl to go with. One who doesn't have a crazed older brother who wishes to do harm to me.
I had a feeling he wouldn't keep our conversation to himself.
So you did speak to him? Ebeneezer, how could you? Tom Dawkins now refuses to be in the same room as me. He won't so much as look at me. What did you say? What did you say?
I thought that boy would have the decency to tell you the truth, but it looks like he didn't. Fan, there's an explanation if you'll just let me tell you what happened.
Spare me your excuses. Admit it. You just can't stand the thought of my having a date for Christmas Eve just because you didn't. You were going to Mr. Fezziwig's party alone, if I recall.
Don't be absurd. I would never do such a thing as to sabotage your personal life just because I didn't have a companion for Christmas.
Well then, what was it? Huh? Why did you feel the need to scare away the most handsome boy I've ever laid eyes on from me? A boy who was set to give me my first kiss. A boy who could have possibly been the one. He very well could have started courting me, and we could have been engaged in a few years' time if things went well.
Oh, for heaven's sake, you foolish thing. He was set to trick you.
Excuse me?
Trick you. I came across him and two of his little toady yes-men plotting about you. They planned to crown you the Queen of the Christmas Fools.
The what?
Apparently it's some kind of tradition. They find someone who they consider the most gullible and foolish, and pull a trick on them on Christmas Eve. They crown someone the King or Queen of the Christmas Fools. They plan to humiliate you at that party. He didn't ask you to be his date out of anything other than spite and malice. It's a good thing I stumbled upon them when I did, or else Christmas Eve would have been a disaster for you.
Liar.
What?
You're a liar, and a bad one at that. Someone would have told me of such deception if that was to happen, but I was not given any such warning. No, I really do think it was jealousy. You just couldn't stand to be alone while I had a date for Christmas. So you threatened and scared Tom Dawkins away.
I'm not about to talk about this till I'm blue in the face. If you think that, fine. Think that. But I know what I heard. Now, help me get these coins, papers, and money off the floor. I should let you do it yourself since you made the mess, but I'll assist.
Do it yourself, you ogre, you beast, Ebenezer Scrooge. I hate you, despise you. I shall never speak to you again as long as I live.
That will be quite hard to do, considering you live under this roof with me.
I shall find a way to do so without speaking a word to you.
Very well. If that's how you wish to react, especially when I was trying to protect you, fine. As I said, you're not a baby. You're allowed to make such decisions. Fan storms off as Ebenezer sighs and quietly scoops up some of the coins and papers from the floor and places them back onto the desk. Soon, he speaks. She could be as stubborn as a mule, but I admit she kept her word of not speaking to me. For the rest of the day, and well into the next, Fan uttered not a word, not so much as a sound. She wouldn't even look at me. It broke my heart to see my usually sweet, good-natured sister so angry at me. But deep down, I knew I had done things the right way, so I didn't lash out at her. A brief blackout, then lights up. Fan is seated in a chair, seemingly deep in thought. Ebenezer quietly walks over to her and stands before her. Fan eyes him for a moment, then frowns and turns away. Hello, my dear. I know you're angry at me, and you're still not speaking to me. And that's fine. But I must tell you, Mr. Fezziwig and his wife are coming by for dinner later tonight. So, while you don't need to speak to me, I'd advise you, please be courteous to Mr. and Mrs. Fezziwig. They've not done anything to deserve a cold, nasty attitude. I'll let you pick out a dress to wear for when they arrive. You always do have a keen eye for clothing. Just be ready to greet them with me promptly at 8 o'clock. Okay? Fan? Little Fan? What's wrong? Why are you crying so? Fan, please, talk to me. What's wrong? You're not doing this for no reason, I know it.
You were right.
What?
You were right, Ebeneezer. Tom Dawkins, he was set to trick me. Set to humiliate me at the ball.
How did you find out?
Some of the other girls told me, as a warning, while I was out fetching food for the household. They told me that Tom swore them all to keep it a big surprise, but bless them, the girls wouldn't do it. They told me Tom doesn't like me. Not one bit. He was just stringing me along to make a fool of me. The kiss he planned under the mistletoe was where he was going to trick me. Oh, Ebeneezer, you were right. I was wrong.
Anne, darling, there's no right or wrong between us here. I just care that this deception was found out and you didn't get your heart broken.
I may not have gotten my heart broken, but my heart suddenly hurts right now.
Oh, dear sister.
Tom Dawkins, he thinks I'm ugly and a burden. He can't stand the sight of me. The other girls all said so. I can't believe, even for a moment, that Tom Dawkins truly thought me beautiful. I was such a fool. I'm ugly. I always have been, and always will be. No boy wants to be with me.
Don't you say such a thing. Fan, you are not ugly, not a burden. You are a wonderful, beautiful, kind, sweet young lady, and I couldn't ask for a better sister. Nothing in this world would change that.
Truly, dear brother?
Truly, little Fan. Fan smiles through her tears and hugs Ebeneezer gently and lovingly. He hugs her back.
I'm sorry I even thought for a moment that you were jealous.
It's fine, my dear, it's fine.
Forgive me, dear brother, for not speaking to you last night, and how utterly rude and cold I acted. It was despicable of me.
There's no need for that. At the time, you simply thought differently. I know what it's like to be in love and then face heartbreak. Trust me. I know things might seem bleak now, but someday, perhaps soon, perhaps when you're a few years older, some lucky fellow is going to come into your life and fall madly in love with you.
You really think so?
Of course. And I will be there to walk you down the aisle to give you away to that lucky fellow, whomever it may be. And I'll cry tears. Not sad ones, but happy ones. Happy because you're happy. Because I provided for you, protected you, and made you happy. Just as you've made me happy, my dear little Fan.
Oh, I don't deserve a brother as wonderful as you.
Ah, but you're wrong. You deserve that and more. You deserve the world. And no matter what, I shall make sure you have it. The two wordlessly, silently hug one another. It is the hug of a brother and sister who truly, deeply care for one another. It is family.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, sit right back, and you shall be regaled with a story that concerns 3 little pigs.
From off stage, we hear the sound of marching feet. The 3 pigs come walking on in single file, and they line up shoulder to shoulder in the middle of the stage. One pig glares at the audience, dressed almost like a 1930s gangster type. The second pig has a relaxed posture, dressed up as a farmer would be, while the third is dressed in an almost Jerry Lewis nerd outfit, complete with glasses. The spotlight shines on the first pig.
Now here we have the first pig. Now, tell the folks your name, son.
What's it to ya?
Well, there's no need to be rude. I was merely asking.
Nah. That's my name, dummy. It's on my birth certificate and everything. First name, Watson. Last name, Tuya. Watson Tuya Pig. Get it?
Wait a moment now. Wouldn't that technically make Pig your last name and Tuya your middle name?
Oh, you want to split hairs, huh? How about I get your wig, eh? You want that?
Heavens, no.
So do you get it now?
I think I do, as gruffly and directly as you explained it. Ahem. And who do we have here?
Howdy, y'all. The name's Bee-Baba Bo-Bye Pig. Yep.
I see. Should we call you Bee Baba for short, or just Bee?
Shoot, partner. You can call me anything you like, as long as you don't call me in late for supper. Hook.
Greetings, all of you lovely people. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Smarty Pants Pig.
Wait a minute. Is that a nickname?
No, it's my full name, much like my two brothers here. It's very much on my birth certificate.
Those two are your brothers?
I know, strange, isn't it? How we have three very contrasting personalities.
Yep.
Nah, whatever.
He puts a stick in his mouth and rolls it around briefly.
Oh, now what's it? For shame, smoking is such a yucky habit.
Who's smoking?
He pulls out the stick and shows that it is in fact a lollipop.
I happen to like lollipops. You got a problem with that? Should I give you a smack?
I sure could go for a snack. Yep.
Oh, brother.
Anyway, the three brothers are all set out to be their own pigs, and that meant making their own houses.
Well, fellows, I'm off to make my house out of bricks. It'll be strong and fortified, withstands all types of weather, not to mention wolf attacks. I suggest you do the same.
Sorry, brother, but I'm fixing my house out of sticks. I sure do love using sticks for stuff, especially for picking critters out of my teeth. Yep.
Bah! Bricks are for chumps. Too much work. I'm making my house out of straw.
Straw?
Straw?
You?
Oh, what? Because I'm a tough pig, that means I can't use straw? How about I shove your noses into your mouths? Would you like that?
No.
I thought as much. Now let's go. Them houses ain't gonna build themselves.
Now then, remember when Smarty Pants talked about wolf attacks? That was very clever foreshadowing. For you see, the three pigs had a problem that they dealt with for a long time. A big, bad, hairy problem.
Dun dun dun!
Behold, ladies and gentlemen, the big bad wolf. He's mean, he's vicious, he's cruel, he's ugly, he's not nice, he's a poor dinner guest, he's bad with finances, he liked the taste of new Coke, he bought a Zune over an iPod, he chose Betamax over VHS,
Enough! How do you like that guy, huh? Tell him my whole life story here. How would you like it if I said every negative thing about you, huh? It would hurt, wouldn't it?
Well, are all of those things true?
I mean, yeah, pretty much. But if I wanted someone to nag at me about those things, I'd call my mother on the phone. Wait a second now. I think... Yes! I smell one of those pigs. I was in the mood for bacon. Now Now, where could he be? Slowly, Watson strolls on stage, still with a tough guy walking attitude. His back is to the wolf, so he doesn't notice the wolf cackling and stalking towards him. The wolf finally comes right up behind Watson and breathes heavily, rearing up and getting ready to pounce. Suddenly, though, Watson frowns and speaks.
Shut up!
He backhands the wolf in the nose. The wolf is dazed.
If there's one thing I hate, it's people breathing on my neck. I need personal space, you big bajalaga loop.
Ooh. Did that pig just backhand me? Like I'm some kind of chump? Am I seriously going to take this? Why am I asking all of you this? The wolf taps Watson on the shoulder. Watson shoves the hand away, still not turning around.
Scram.
The wolf frowns and taps Watson's shoulder again. Watson finally turns around.
I said scram, you.
He eyes the wolf. For the first time, the color drains from his face, and he looks petrified.
Uh-oh.
Any last words before I gobble you up, tough guy?
Yeah. Pick 2.
Huh?
Never mind, I'll pick for you.
Boom! He pokes the wolf in the eye, Three Stooges style, then hurries off stage. We hear the sound of a door slamming and locking as the wolf recovers. Oh! He Three Stooged me! No one does that and gets away with it! Bum 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 bum! Little pig, let me in!
Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin!
Oh no? Well then, I'm gonna huff and puff and blow your house down.
I ought to give you a smack for blowing my house away. But instead, I think I gotta run. Yow!
Watson runs away as the wolf gives chase. Soon the lights dim and some banjo music plays. B comes walking onto the stage, picking his teeth with a stick, then spitting into a spittoon. Ding! He grins as we hear the sound of frantic knocking on the door. Bum 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 bum.
Visitors. I sure do love visitors. Yup. Who is it?
What's it to ya?
Well, shucks, fella, I was just asking.
Let me in, pea-brain!
But my name ain't Pea-brain, it's...
Oh, for the love of...
Watson breaks down the door and rushes on stage, panting. B smiles and slaps him on the shoulder in greeting.
Oh, Watson, why didn't you say it was you?
I did, you stupid... never mind. I'll insult you later. Hide me, B, hide me! The wolf is chasing me!
The wolf?
Yeah, that goon blew my house away. It's all gone! Every last straw!
Well, got it, brother. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll be safe in here. After all, sticks are much stronger than straw.
I sure hope so.
Meanwhile, the wolf stalks onto a different part of the stage. He spies the house of sticks and approaches it. That little pig ran into there. Wouldn't shock me if it was one of his equally as annoying brothers. Bum 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 bum.
Who was it?
Candygram for UNICEF.
Golly, I sure do love candy.
He goes to open the door, but Watson stops him.
Wait a second. That sounds like the wolf. If that's a candygram for UNICEF, what kind of candy is in the round box?
Coconut and caramel.
Oh, yeah? Well, guess what? You're a fraud! Every pig knows candygram for UNICEF candy boxes are triangle-shaped! You're the wolf!
Besides, coconut candies are gross.
That is your big objection in all of this, dummy?
Ugh, I knew I should have just said I was a Jehovah's Witness. Dun 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 dun. Little pigs, let me in.
Not
by the hair our chinny chins.
Well then, I'm gonna huff and puff and blow your house down.
Gosh, do you feel a draft in here suddenly?
The wolf blew your house away.
Golly, he sure does have a strong lung capacity, don't he?
Run, you!
The two pigs scream and run as the wolf gives chase to them off stage. Ugh, I like fast food, but not this fast. Get back here, you two! The lights dim again as slowly Smarty Pants strolls on and sets up a chair, then sits in it, a mug in one hand, a book in the other. The lights go back up as Smarty Pants sips from the mug.
A nice mug of cocoa, a good book. How relaxing. Deja vu, the feeling you've done something before. Chapter 1, Deja vu, the feeling you've done something before.
Bum 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 bum.
Who is it?
What's it to ya?
What's it to ya? Are you okay?
Golly, I guess I owe you $10. What's it? I thought he was gonna make a joke about your name.
Bee-ba-ba-bo-ba-bray. Is that you too?
He opens the door and Watson and Bee scramble in, panting and scared.
Oh, goodness. What on earth happened?
The wolf! He blew my house away!
Mine too. Oh, gracious. Both of them? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Oh, fellas, you should have made your house out of bricks. Like me. Then you wouldn't have been in such a silly predicament.
Oh, lecture us later! For now, hide us! Hide us quick, before the wolf shows up and...
Where are you? Where are you two little pigs? Did you go into this house?
Yeah, there he is.
Don't fall to pieces, fellas. Just stay calm. That wolf won't be able to blow this house away.
How do we know that for sure?
Have I ever steered you wrong before? Please, just trust me. Don't panic and trust me.
Bum 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 bum.
Wolf, if I were you, I'd get out of here. Besides the fact that this house is made of bricks, thus blowing away proof. If you'd leave, I'll be forced to call a friend of mine to help me and my brothers.
Oh, bah, who are you gonna call? The Three Bears? Little Red Riding Hood? Dun 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 dun. Little pigs, let me in.
Not
by the hair of our chinny chins.
Well then, I'm gonna huff and puff and, well, you know the rest.
Give up?
This can't be.
What part of blow away proof? Didn't you understand, Wolf?
I'll get in there one way or another. The wolf starts to charge into the door with his shoulder. Watson and Bee are petrified as Smarty Pants calmly pulls out a cell phone and begins to dial a number.
That wolf is gonna break the door down, and you're ordering a pizza?
Oh, Smarty Pants, let's get out of here. We can make a break for it through the back door.
Shh, quiet, it's ringing. Hello, Fang. Hey, it's Smarty Pants. Listen, Fang, the wolf is bothering us again. Would you mind talking to him? You're in the neighborhood, you say? Well, great. He's right outside my door. Thanks.
Fang? Who's Fang, Smarty?
Oh, just a professional wrestler I know.
Oh. Wait.
Wait,
What?
what?
Just watch out the window.
As the wolf continues to try and break down the door, we suddenly hear a gruff voice from off stage. The wolf stops and turns as a very buff, tough-looking wrestler walks on. The wolf raises a brow and speaks. Are you talking to me?
Hey, fellas! Is this clown here bothering you?
Yes.
So, you like picking on three little pigs, huh? So you're a tough guy, huh? How about you try picking on me instead?
Ah, buzz off, meathead. Those pigs are my future dinner. Go bash rocks.
I know how to deal with tough guys like you.
Look, buddy, I told ya. Buzz off and...
Pardon me a moment, boys. Me and the wolf here have a little chat to have.
Wait, never mind. I'll eat vegan instead. No.
Aruga!
Pass the butter, please.
You got any caramel dripping I can put on mine?
Sorry, I ran out. I'll buy some tomorrow.
The sounds of fighting suddenly cease. Fang comes back on stage, dusting his hands off.
I don't think he'll be bothering you three anymore.
Thanks a lot, Fang.
Hey, I owed you one. All right, see you boys around.
Bye.
The wolf stumbles and limps onto the stage, looking like he's been through the ringer. He gently knocks on the door, as Smarty Pants smiles slowly.
Yes?
Pigs, I would like to apologize for my past actions. Your associate Fang gently persuaded me that perhaps trying to eat you is not the best idea. So, in an effort never to be persuaded again, I will be leaving you alone for the next, 200 years. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to go back to the hospital. I think he jammed my lungs into my pancreas. Owie.
Hooray!
That was brilliant, Smarty Pants.
Yeah, you're a genius.
Pshaw, it wasn't nothing, as long as my two dear brothers were protected.
There's just one thing I don't understand.
What's that?
What did that Fang guy mean by him owing you one? What did you ever do for him?
Oh, I did his taxes for him 6 months ago.
His
taxes?
Well, yeah, I'm a tax consultant. Oh, come on. How do you think I could afford to build this large house out of bricks? Money doesn't grow on trees, you know.
Oy
Oy
vey.